We are talking about Superman and Lois, season 1, 2, and now 3. And I'm here with Ping Pong Flicks himself. What do you think about Superman and Lois, Chris?
I'd say it's probably one of the better CW DC shows out there. Not knocking all you CW fans, but their Arrowverse kind of stops for me after like a few seasons of Flash.
Yeah.
Maybe one season.
Oh, I'm
of
sorry.
Supergirl.
Chris, you didn't
Yeah.
like that scene when she's like, no, Barry, no.
No,
We are the Flash.
it's so that show needed to end seasons ago.
Season 4, I would say.
Ago. Yeah, it really just drawn out at that point.
You know what's funny is like our channel used to be basically 3 things. We covered Survivor, America's Got Talent, and The Flash. And we slowly started moving away from all of that stuff. And there was at one point where we weren't covering Survivor or America's Got Talent anymore.
Yeah.
Because it got ridiculous and just like so bloated.
Yeah.
And we were only covering The Flash. And there was this moment, I remember it like clear as day. I'm watching the series over here. Shane's watching it in his house, my brother. And we're both watching it at the same time live. And then there's that moment where she's like, no, Barry, no. We are the Flash. Now run, Barry, run.
Yeah.
And I'm picking up my phone to call Shane, and he calls me, and he's like, I don't want to cover this show anymore. Like I don't want to do this.
We're done.
Make this the last episode. And that was the last episode we ever talked about. He's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm like, neither do I. I hate it so much. I hate Iris's character, not the actress, the character so much.
Yeah.
It's making me literally hate like the actress. Like I'm starting to take the actress and the character and sort of superimpose it. I'm like, I gotta stop. Like I hate this character so much. Like if you are making this character into like some mastermind villain, you're doing a great job.
That'd be a twist, right?
Imagine that.
Last season, she's the villain the whole time.
Right? Yeah, so you're right. Like the CW shows, they got a little rough, but Superman and Lois and Stargirl are pretty good. And I really enjoyed the first season of Superman and Lois and the second season, most of the first season. So what's your thoughts on like where the show, before we get into this news, where the show's at? Like, can it go the distance or is it winding down?
I feel like it's kind of winding down because they went through some big moves. The first 2 seasons. I mean, the first season, he's saving the Earth from his own brother. So, and then now that kind of turned around. I kind of like the brother's character now that he's kind of like a good uncle, or buying his nephew's trucks and stuff like that. But like the second one, it was like merging worlds, and I know a lot of people give a lot of gripe about Superman stuff, but I'm like saying this is a Superman that he's like over 40 years old. He's got kids, he's got a family. It's a different time. This is not the beginning Superman. This is not even the middle.
Yeah.
This is like after he's done all that. And then he's trying to raise a family. And so that's why I kind of connect with him, because I am 40 years old. So I have,
same.
I have 3 kids. And I'm just like, I get it, man. You're trying to do work life and you got your other life.
Dude, you just hit it right on the head, because I'm also 40 years old with 2 kids, also twins, right? And like I'm in the same boat. Like when I watch that show, I feel like I identify with Superman, which is so wild.
Yeah.
That's
so hard to do.
It's hard. Yeah. You're identifying with like a god, because even though he has godlike powers, he is dealing with some of the same exact problems that we deal with. It's great. Yeah. The show is really written well, and you're totally right. You hit it right on the head. This is not Superman and Lois from the Daily Planet Superman. This is not Smallville Superman. This is not even Superman from the comics. Really, this is older. I know the actor doesn't look very old. That's one thing that's thrown a lot of people off. But this is older Superman, married, kids, on a farm. He's trying to retire. He's trying to do just enough to keep the world, not on fire.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that's definitely something that could still go on. I don't see it actually really, now that I think about it, I don't think it actually could slow down, because they can go into directions that we've never seen before. with that respect.
Now,
I believe
that was sort of the answer I was looking for, because I wanted to segue into why I think that this is a problem. So what we have here is the character of Jonathan Kent is going to be recast because the actor, whose name is Jordan Elsass.
I don't know how to say his last name. Yeah.
Elsass. I don't know. Elsass. He is exiting Superman right before season 3, so he's not going to be part of season 3. Now, here is the problem. They said that he's leaving for personal reasons, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, it looks like. Let me preface this with: I don't care where you guys fall politically. I don't care if you care about taking the vaccine or not. I don't care about any of that stuff. Whatever your personal opinions and all that, that's yours. Like, I'm here to talk about entertainment, and I don't care about politics. And I believe that what we're seeing here is we're seeing Jordan Elsass, this dude from Texas who's very anti-vaccine. He was respectful about it, and I'll play that clip. But he's very anti-vaccine. Didn't want to wear a mask very much. He has all of his opinions are very much right-leaning, right? Also, when they introduced the idea that Jonathan Kent in the comic books was gay or bisexual, he was very clear. He was very clear that he would not, that his character would not be following that route, and he wasn't comfortable with kissing other men, right? And people dragged this dude on Twitter, like they really gave him a hard time. So I remember watching all that go down like a few months ago and thinking, oh, well, there's guaranteed that this dude isn't going to be a part of the show very much longer, because like Hollywood very much depends on what Twitter thinks for everything, apparently. And in this, so it's personal reasons. And he had this Instagram post where he's like, guys, my mental health is not great. I need to get away for a few weeks. But he said a few weeks at the end of shooting season 2. And you're telling me that he's not going to be, he's not going to be ready because of his mental health in 6 months? That makes no sense. What makes a little more sense to me is more than likely he didn't want to get the vaccine. So, a lot of like the health, the stuff they got to deal with in the industry wasn't going to work. He had some kind of like medical, what's it called? Some kind of like doctor's note on why you couldn't get the vaccine. Okay. But he also didn't want to go through the checks. He didn't want to wear the mask. He was difficult in that regard. And because they're hyper concerned about coof, I don't want to say the actual word because I don't want this video to be removed. Because they're hyper concerned about the coof, it was hard to work with this dude. And then I'm almost certain that his comments about not wanting to kiss other men probably didn't help his cause. So I'm going to play this, and then I'm going to get your opinion, okay?
Obviously, there's a lot of protests going on for, vaccine mandates here in Canada, as well as just in general, all the COVID-19 restrictions that are very, very stringent up here. And something I've seen that kind of cracks me up is these counter protests. Like, imagine if I was just like, guys, there's a Black Lives Matter protest. We gotta go.
That face he made is my exact face whenever I hear about people protesting.
Signs saying that all lives matter. And no, bro. No, you don't do that.
I'm gonna pause this real quick, but like that face he made where he's like, 20-year-olds are gonna say dumb stuff sometimes, right?
Whatever you want to say, whatever helps you sleep at night. But
a lot of times, like kids, they always think about, it's always about emotions first,
right?
Before your head. you think with the heart,
right?
And not necessarily those are the smartest decisions, to be honest.
Right. Now listen, so regardless of his opinions, first off, he definitely shouldn't be removed or even encouraged to leave because his opinions differ from other opinions of people on the set. That's wrong. The idea that we are going to hire and fire someone based on their opinions of a pandemic or a vaccine or a political affiliation is just ridiculous. Like, that is not how the world works, guys. So just to be clear, before we get into the rest of the story, it is really dumb that we have gone this route of tribalism, because we are literally, and I don't want to be conspiratorial here, but we are playing into the powers that be's hands. Like, they want you to be mad at this other person because their opinions don't match yours. Because as long as you are fighting with your neighbor, then they can steal all your stuff. This is how it works. So firing someone or hiring someone based on their opinions outside the workplace on vaccines or political stuff or presidents or whatever is stupid. First off, what happened to us not talking about that in the workplace? I remember there was when I worked like a regular job, I remember they're like, you know what, don't talk about politics here. Like, I remember David Chappelle making a joke about it, where like he would ask one of his white friends what he was voting for, and they're like, yo, Dave, come on, man. What are you doing? What are you doing? Because it was like this sort of this like rule that like we just didn't talk about unspoken politics. Yeah, unspoken rule. Don't talk about things that are gonna like upset people or whatever, or even like it's a workplace. We are not here to discuss politics
or religion.
Or religion, yes. Yeah. Or religion, or vaccine mandates, or whatever. Like, you can disagree and you can have those conversations outside the workplace, but hiring and firing someone based on their opinions is dumb. Now, the guy could be a monster. I don't know him. He can be like a total homophobic, douchebag. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But if he doesn't want to, if he doesn't want to kiss another man, and that wasn't a part of his character before, maybe don't make him do that. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't understand why. Like, that's a requirement. I remember back in the day when if actors didn't want to make out with an actress, they figured it out. But I don't know. So,
well, I don't think this is nothing really new. Actors and actresses, they come and go depending on what they want and not want, and especially in a movie, you're signed up. You know exactly where you're getting into. Right. But TV series, characters evolve and change, and so are the opinions of the actors, and so they would leave. So officially, all it says is that he just never showed up, and then he gave his personal reasons. Well, he had no reasons there. He just said personal. It was something personal, so we don't really know what that is. But
he deleted the post that he first talked about it.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah.
So you could kind of guess like what's going on with that, but he was a great character on the show. Didn't look like he was going a way of, because he had a girlfriend in the show.
Right.
He was getting into superpowers, like he was getting into.
Yeah, he was getting powers, right? Yeah. So why did he post all that stuff? Like at the end of season 2, he was posting about how, like, so I don't know exactly what happened, but I assume that he must have seen like a script or something, or something must have been said to him about the direction of the character that sort of set him off on Instagram.
Could be, yeah. Are they still? Is Hollywood still doing the vaccine things? Like they're still wearing masks?
So not in Hollywood per se, but in Canada they are, and that's where they're filming.
Oh, that's where they're filming. Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
So Canada is like, if you think the U.S.'s response to the coof and vaccines and all that was like sort of extreme, you don't know nothing. You check out Canada. It's nuts. You're talking about like people get vaccine boosted, double tested. It's gnarly up there. So I guess their restrictions up there made it harder for them because of him. So
yeah.
So that's I think that the show might be winding down though, because what happens 99% of the time when you recast someone on a TV show? Does that TV show continue on for multiple seasons, or it usually starts to fizzle out pretty quick, right?
A little hard. I mean, you have to reconnect back with another Jonathan.
Right.
you got to read like, okay, I'm kind of confused right at the moment. Like, who's this kid?
Right.
That's right. And all those seasons you've watched him in, and you're like, I can't get it. It depends. I mean, the third season's gonna be rough, but if there's nothing after that, then I don't know. It's kind of might not work out. Especially when we're hearing that, they're constantly canceling these HBO Max and CW shows.
Right. Not a good time. Yeah, not a good time for him to split, right? Interesting. Yeah, this reminds me of a show. There's a Tim Allen show on what was it called?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
I forgot what it's called. His daughters, and the first daughter changed from the.
Yeah. So it was called. I'm gonna have to look it up right now.
That's a good show. I like that show.
The great show.
It's a funny show.
Last Man Standing.
Last Man Standing. Yes.
Great show. Now here's what's weird about this show. It's so weird. So originally the cast was. Here we go. Oh no, that's the new daughter. That's the new daughter. Where's the original daughter? Here we go. Okay.
Right. Yep.
This is pretty much right. I think this is a weird fan edit thing. Okay, so this is the original daughter. So actually, the way it started at first, there was the very first 2 episodes. There was a different daughter here, and that was like the pilot episodes. Yeah. So in the pilot episodes, they had a different actress, and she was actually, I would argue, better than this actress. But she couldn't stay on the show, so they replaced her, and they replaced her with this character. And for 5 seasons, though, I'm not going to say that the star of the show was Tim Allen, but the secondary star was definitely this Mandy character. She was an amazing character.
She was, and they changed her.
She stole the show. And they when they moved networks, they changed her to this actress here.
She's not that good.
No, she's not that great. No offense to her, but she lacks charisma. Mm-hmm. She doesn't have the same personality. She's a blonde. For the love of God, she's blonde.
Right.
Like, you didn't even try to get someone that looked similar to that character.
They're like, girl, go ahead.
Right. And then to make it worse, because this character changed so much, they started really featuring the older sister, who is a nut job in real life. She is nuts. She is nutty, and she had like a lot of control. Like when she re-signed her things, she got more control over her character, and she really dragged it into the ground. And this whole show started to fall apart, not after the pilot recasting, because that's fine, but after you've already connected to this character. You had already connected to this character. You already knew the dynamic between the family. See, the father wasn't just some dude that the family kicked around like a typical sitcom. He was a respected member of his family, his community, and his workplace. Yeah. And he dealt with these family issues. He had like right-leaning ideas, and he dealt with a bunch of left-leaning people at work. And there was a nice balance of politics in this show where it showed both sides, and both personalities and characters learned things. And then you changed the actor, the actress, and the character, and everything was out of whack. Everything.
Yeah.
His character went
weird. Yeah.
His character went from like respected to disrespected instantly. It turned into a sitcom, all with a laugh track and everything. And this chick went nuts. She was like, just went hyper liberal all of a sudden. Her wife went all the characters went hyper liberal all of a sudden, and the show just fell apart, dude. And why is
her husband was kind of liberal?
So her husband was the token liberal, though. Like that was his personality, though, right? The point
that was his thing, his shtick.
Right. The point of that character was to be the antithesis to the Tim Allen character. So like he was very right wing, guns and hunting, and this guy was like, I'm a vegan and I voted for Barack Obama, right?
Yeah.
That was the joke. Like this right wing guy's daughter was marrying this like sort of deadbeat dad liberal guy that learned to be a very good father over time and got his act together And you fell in love with his character, even with his politics. It didn't matter because remember, politics is one part of a person's personality. There's a whole other person there that you can enjoy outside their political beliefs, even if they're nuts. This character was a very good example of, and both these characters were good examples of people that with extremely different political beliefs can still coexist and even grow together.
Yeah.
But the second they recast it, it went all downhill. So why is that? Is that the chemistry?
It's the chemistry, and just like for me, when she came up on screen, because it literally was like one up, right after, right?
Yeah, there wasn't even like a time. Yeah, it was.
There's literally no way to like get used to it. They're like, who the heck is this?
Yeah,
they just came out of nowhere.
In one scene, she went down into her basement like little warehouse, and in the following season, she comes out as this character, as this actress.
Right, like it's just. And if you think about the timeline, that's literally like the next day or something. Like
right.
It's so see, when it comes like that, just like the Jonathan situation, you get multiple seasons of, like you said, you know this character, you respect the character, you see how, and you're used to it. And then once they change it like that, it's just too abrupt. It's not like Rhodey in Iron Man. At least he was only in one movie. Imagine if they changed Rhodey 3 movies, or Civil War, or even an Endgame or something. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, and
so
that was actually a little bit jarring, but it wasn't as bad as it would have been had he been ingrained, right?
Yeah.
You're totally right. Yeah. I remember that, like thinking, I really like Terrence Howard. Like, nothing's wrong with Terrence Howard. But then if you're gonna change a character, talk about an upgrade. Like, just John Cheadle. Okay.
John Cheadle.
We're not getting a no name. Like, you're giving us definitely like an acclaimed actor that actually in real life knows Robert Downey Jr. and is friendly with him. And that just added to their chemistry, because Terrence Howard and Robert Downey Jr., their chemistry sort of sucked. Even though Terrence Howard's a good actor.
And Don Cheadle and Robert, they had a better chemistry.
Right.
You can tell they had that together, But yeah. So I don't know how good Superman Lois is going to go. I feel like this may be the last season. You never know. I mean, how not only that, but just the way the studio's going. I just feel like they're trying to get that single universe. They're trying to be the first 10 years of Marvel.
Which makes sense. Right? Mm-hmm. It makes sense. Like, why wouldn't you? Okay. Why wouldn't you want to emulate success? So, here's a little for everyone out there that's trying to do their own thing. If you're running your own business, you have an Etsy store, or maybe you're trying a YouTube channel, whatever you're trying to do. If you're trying to do your own thing, you're not trying to work for someone. Let me give you advice that I wish someone would have given me when I was 20. Do your own thing, but look at the people around you that are already successful and emulate them. Don't like steal their ideas, but like if they're going to this this convention for computer parts or whatever, like you should go there too and find out what are they doing that is so successful. If you guys are trying to do the same thing, if you are trying to start a YouTube channel, look at other YouTube channels and go, what's making them successful? Is it when they're posting, how they're posting, like whatever it is, you can emulate that success with your own thing. And it's so arrogant that Warner Brothers for so long was like, we don't have to be Marvel, we could do our own thing. And of course you don't have to be Marvel, but this is, first off, it's not a new thing that you stay in one universe and make a franchise. Like, Marvel didn't invent that. They just perfected it. So that's not really a Marvel thing. Yeah. So, like, the fact that they were so arrogantly not wanting to be Marvel, that they went way out of their way to be a worse version it's silly. It's just silly. It's okay to emulate people that have come before you that are doing it right. It's you do your own thing, but you can take some of the ideas and run with it. You know, like having a character from movie to movie be the same character. I don't know. I loved the Batman, and I loved the Justice League. I love all the different Batman movies, but for the love of God, just find one Batman, please. Like, for a while, you need to have one Batman that we can all, one Iron Man, right? Like, is there any other Iron Man other than Robert Downey Jr.? Not to me. No. Okay, so how many Batmans are there though? 13?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, there's 3 right now.
There's no identity.
Yeah, there's no single. That's why I like that idea of that single universe. I think we need to get back to those basics of just getting something that is just strong, you know?
Yeah.
Stop. Like, I feel like the old Warner Bros. Regime, they're trying to do the whole multiverse idea, which is really early.
Too early.
Compared to, like, because you can't just, like, okay, Marvel did this for 10 years and now we're getting to the multiverse. Okay, we just skipped like
we skipped a lot of steps, guys.
And we're into multiverse. But for them, I felt is like a Suits, just saying, let's do multiverse. That way, we can capitalize on all these different characters in different universes, you know, and not exactly in a plan that, like a story plan.
Right.
You know, we needed to work as a story, not as to capitalize on. I mean, Marvel is capitalizing on it, but they're working it in as a story.
Right.
It makes sense.
Friggin' Suits,
you know. So, but
yeah, and Marvel's working it in after years, like already doing like the big storylines. Now they're introducing the multiverse. And you know what? That's just like the comic books. Like when you run out of big stories to tell in your universe, you got to sort of like up the ante, you know?
Yeah.
Which I hate. I don't care for any of that stuff personally, but you know, it's the right way to go. And in the comic books, they usually use the whole multiverse thing as a way of sort of restarting the system. Mm-hmm. And as time goes on, these comic book stories get so convoluted and so crazy that like there's like 15 versions of this character, and there's like a Galactus, and he's eating planets, and he's like
where do you start if you haven't read for a long time? Where do you know? It's just so much.
Right. And so what do? They go, let's have this big infinite crisis or this big multiverse thing where we like the whole multiverse is at risk, and we have this big epic storyline where we close it, where we like close the system and we reboot it in canon, called the New 52, right, or whatever.
Yeah.
And they reboot it in canon so that those things all happen. But now this new Iron Man is like a chick, or she's Penny, or whatever. And you can change the character up, or you don't. Or if characters were so good on their own, you leave them be and you just sort of restart them. And you can do that in canon so that what you did before happened, but now we're in a new universe that's been freshly created or whatever. They've done that a bunch, you guys. They've done that a lot. So they're doing that in the movies now too.
Yeah.
It's just sort of cheap to me, but you know, whatever.
Yeah.
That's what we think. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Hit that comment section on the way down there. Hit the subscribe button and all the other buttons. Thank you so much. We'll see you the next time.